Yeah, that chest is deep. This is amazing.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You can feel it.
And
you can feel the electric.
You feel you feel the energy?
Yeah.
So what's going on, Isaac?
What's going on?
You know, I told you, my friends, I just got a contact from a guy from Argentina, and he says, how is it possible that a guy that haven't been in the dogs for many years is getting this level of dog? And there's other people that are feeding their dogs, and when they look at this puppy and they go back to feed their dogs, they actually feel really bad. They got 30, 40 months to feed, and this one guy, they still don't know you. By looking at this video, they know you.
Right.
And now they can see a face.
Yep.
This young guy, you look like 25, something, but you're 29, right?
29.
And they're looking at you. How does that feel?
This feels powerful, man.
It feels powerful. Tell me a little bit about that. That's very interesting. And one of the reasons why I wanted to come personally is because you fit a demographic of that you are like exactly the same age I was when I grabbed Grand Champion Mayday in my arms.
Wow.
Exactly. About, I was 28, I think you're 29.
Yep.
Just about.
It's deep.
And I had 54, 60 dogs with me. And when I started in the dogs in 1990, the only thing I wanted to do is own one dog, one great dog. But I couldn't do that because if I got a dog from a particular bloodline from a good guy, that dog wasn't enough. Because if there was another guy that got a dog might be better. And now look at this guy. Keep holding him like that so he starts to know you and feel good with you.
Yep. It's wild.
It's wild.
It's powerful.
What can you tell guys around your age about this? Tell us a little bit about your experience.
Yep.
What your experience have been like?
Yep. So,
Your journey until this point right here.
Yep.
How do you start it? Because you had other dogs.
Yep.
You had a Rottweilers, I think, or German Shepherds,
Giant Schnauzers, and Dobermans. So I got into police training.
Police training.
Yep.
That's what you do.
That's
you train
what I do.
dogs.
Yep. That's what I do. So I played college football. I always grew up loving dogs. My parents actually wouldn't let me have dogs because we were always busy on the road with traveling. And you know, the first dog I actually got was in the hood. One of my buddy's cousin had a breeding a little pit bull. So that was the first dog I got wise enough to sneak home when I was like a freshman in high school.
Really?
Yeah, my parents looked at it, and where I'm at, they don't allow pit bulls right in the backyard. Yeah. So I opened up. I was afraid to bring it in through the front door, you know, with my dad and everybody there. So I put it in the backyard, and I went inside, told my parents, and my dad already knew he was knocking on the window from upside, and he looked at it, he was like, no. But then the dog actually took everybody's heart. The dog's name was Diamond. It was an all-white.
Isn't that amazing?
All-white pit bull.
My first dog, Bruno Boy.
Yep.
I thought it was the greatest pit bull in the world, which he was a great pet to me. I owe him a lot. I'm in these dogs because of him. I didn't breed him because, although he was like a super dog in many areas, he had a lot of sparkles of greatness, but he was not the real deal. And I didn't want to make the mistake to do what everybody else does.
And that's kind of how, like you were saying, to this point, I always tried to be the best I can be, right, and everything. And I know that's cliche, but for real, that's how I live. That's how I.
When you live it, it's not cliche. It is what it is.
You're right. You're right. So I've actually, I'm always researching stuff. So I found you on YouTube actually a while ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and you were talking about the real pit bull. And I've been training dogs for years, right? Police dogs, and I kept seeking out the best trainer, the best breeder. And there's actually one of my mentors, a guy from Germany. I saw a lot of. I start going, kind of like you say, the backyard breeder. I start going to these backyard clubs with people with the sleeves and the bite suits, and I'm like, I thought that's what it was about, right? So then, until you go to the next thing.
That was your process with the German Shepherds.
That was the process with German Shepherds, but I was getting to the dog. I've always loved dogs, but once I saw one, I'm like, I actually showed up. So that was the process. This is how it really happened. In college, I started working on the bite suits. This is a real story. I kept looking in the paper online to find a German Shepherd. I went to the first police like academy type working thing, and they had working German Shepherds and a couple of show line dogs. I went home. I was broke in college playing football, no money, right? Besides their scholarship check, I got online and.
What college did you go to?
I went to Northern Iowa, so D1 AA. But anyway, got online, right? Yeah. Saw a show line German Shepherd up in Wisconsin, Gerland Farms. Called this guy. I had a buddy with me, and this is a true story. He ended up playing in the NFL, but he's from St. Louis. I said, we had to go 2 hours.
What's his name?
His name's Kevin Vereen. and we call him. But
Kevin, how you spell the last name?
Vereen.
Vereen.
Vereen Jr. Yeah.
Okay.
So then we went. I called him. I was like, hey, you got to go with me tomorrow. We were roommates. You got to go with me. Go pick up this dog. And I've always been studying German Shepherds. Wake him up. He's like, I wake him up in the morning. He was out all night. I never really partied like that, but we got up, and then he looks up, and it's been 5 hours, and we drive past the Wisconsin border. He's like, where are you taking me? I'm like, just sit back. So we went up to this farm, a farm with peacocks, cows, and we pull up.
Beautiful place, looks
beautiful,
like.
Beautiful farm, right? He's one of the top breeders of Arabian horses. I didn't know that, but I never met this guy. I called him and said, I'm coming up to get a puppy. I walked up in there, and he's a very, very professional gentleman. So I go up there. He used to be a country singer as well. So
he was a country singer.
Country singer.
A breeder of dogs.
Yes, a breeder
and
of dogs.
a breeder of Arabian horses.
A high-level individual.
So he understands about pedigrees.
Pedigree, merits.
He understands merits.
So
you can have pedigrees and no marriage is no good.
His name is Larry Jerome, and he's a high individual, which we're getting at. So I pull up. You know, I've always been kind of, you know, dressed up. That's how I was raised. My buddy, you know, comes in with a do-rag from St. Louis. Love him to death, but two different people. We pull up, and we're in my mom's beat-down Lexus. And we pull up to this guy's estate, and he comes out and he's looking at us. He's an old farmer guy, and he goes, what are you guys doing here? I was like, I'm coming to buy a German Shepherd. I saw that you had some of the best, that you've shipped over all these titled dogs, and in the German Shepherd world, they're all high-level titled. And he's like, come inside, sit in the kitchen, kind of like how you're giving me. He sat down, he could tell I was passionate. He was looking at my buddy kind of funky. He was like, who's this? What's this guy doing here? I'm like, yeah, let's not talk about him.
He
talking.
didn't look like he fit around you. Okay.
So then we were talking.
Because his looks.
Exactly. And he's like, do you know how much those dogs are out there? He's like, I'll show you around the whole thing, but do you know how much those dogs are? I'm like, no. At the time, I didn't know anything. I'm like, a couple $100 because I'm used to the experience I got in the hood, right? All the backyard breeder, the swamp.
Yeah, the backyard, the swampers.
So then he's like, those dogs are anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. You got that? And he knew I didn't have it, and I was like, no. So then we start talking. He brings in a couple of his high-level dogs and these are show lines, right? But they have working titles, but the top of the top. And he brings them in, and it took my breath, kind of like this dog did, and I'll talk about that. But I go in there, and he brings them in, and he was like, how about this? How about you make payment plans? I said, how about this? How about I work on your farm for a week and work one off? He said, okay. So that day, without anybody knowing, we had summer camp football. I stayed up there, and this guy opened his whole house up to us, let us stay upstairs.
That's a nice guy.
Real nice guy. Never met us, and I swear to God, we can call him after us. And he calls me his son from a darkened persuasion, is what he called him. But he was trying to teach us ethics, but saying to get something, don't just go back and buy a shitty breed or a lower level. You came here for the right reason, but you don't have the money in your pocket currently. But that doesn't mean you can't get something like this. So he was teaching me, in hindsight, that you can work for what it is, but it also relate to the person who you reach out to. So he was letting me know that I respect your passion. You were man to man, weren't bullshitting about, oh, I can make this payment or whatever. I told him straight up, I don't have the money, right? But now that I saw it, there's levels to it. And that's
you were going to get one later anyhow.
Later. So
whether he gave you that opportunity or not, 100%. You already knew, you already felt in your heart that's what you wanted.
And kind of like what you said, Bruno boy. So then I'm sitting there. He gives me the keys. We stay up there for a week. I still talk to him all the time. He let me at the end of the week. He added up our checks. He's like, you've only worked off like $1,200 worth. We painted a gazebo, sanded a deck. And I was like, damn. He's like, go out in the kennel and grab a puppy. So I grabbed a long hair shepherd. Got to pick one. He's like, you can grab one. He let my buddy get one. And the other one got an underbite dog. And I was like, I don't know why he would get that dog, but I grabbed it home. I felt proud, right? But I also learned a lot. Brought it home. Only one in college with the show line dog. I was walking around. So then I took them to the police thing, and everybody else had a different level, working breed versus show line. And they're like, you don't have the right dog. I'm like, why not? I'm like you. I love my dog. This is my first dog. I earned that dog. I'm training shit, trying to learn levels, learn how to obedience, protection. But he didn't have the motor. Loved the dog, but he didn't have the motor as the other dogs, the prey drive.
Yeah.
They pull out the birdie whip.
Yes.
And my dog's kind of like that. And I call him. I'm like, why my dogs look like that, right? And you can look at people, but it takes the eye that you talk about, and I'm not saying I have, but I can say my dog, they have a Corvette engine. Mine has a Toyota Camry. He looks like a Corvette, but he has a. So they're
I love it. So they kind of look related.
Yes.
But you can tell them biomechanics. Like
they're both called a German Shepherd.
Like for instance, this puppy right here, people that understand dogs, they look at the pose I pose on the dog, and right away you send me a message like, what the hell is this?
Exactly.
Like, hey, dude, look at the jawline on the dog. Look at the muzzle. Long, look at the eyes, how he looks in the picture.
Different.
He said, dude, this dog is something else. He said, how old is he? I said, 3.5 to maybe 4. He's like, oh my God, how? in the text, the guy that you show you,
Yeah.
he said, how you do it? They just keep getting better and better, you know?
And that's exactly how it happened. So then from there, I started reaching. I was like, well, I don't want this dog anymore, even though I loved him. I'm like, I want that. Because then we started doing the police work. So then I kept going to different seminars, and I found a guy, a German guy, that at every step, I'm like, I get around the coolest guy at that there, and I wasn't about making friends. I was trying to find pedigrees, who had the best dog. I'm like, where'd you get that dog from?
So you have passion for
I
dogs.
traveled all over the country.
And this is a very particular thing. There's people don't have that.
They don't.
So they wouldn't understand. Like somebody watching this video right now, and they have no passion for dogs, they already left the video. But those that are still watching the video right now, and they're listening to your passion, your persuasion, not persuasion, you're pursuing
Yes. Exactly.
greatness, canine greatness.
Yep.
And so you're going through your emotions, you're going through the steps, and you have a desire to find the best. Am I correct?
That's 100%. And
So
that's in everything I do. And then I'm sitting there, and again, I'm 20 at the age, right? So a lot of people can make excuses for it, but that's me following my passion. I'm seeking out things, seeking out different seminars is what they call them. And then I'm also looking at what you're big on, merits. I get online, there's a Working Dog EU, and you can look on there and see who won the world titles, who's winning the States. There's a lot of people at these seminars talking about do this and do that, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, but your dog's not doing that, right? So it's like 1 + 1 doesn't make, it makes 2, but that's not what they're doing. So then I found this German guy, and everybody, I see his pedigree, they start talking about his names, his dogs were like Terror, von der Staatsmach. Then I'm looking online, I'm like, all the dogs at the Worlds in Germany and Australia have Staatsmach in it. So I'm like, oh, this is the guy? So after like years of getting there, now
How many years that took
it took
you?
me about 3 years to get to this guy, and he was in Minneapolis, so he's about, he's close to me. So then I go up there, and I see all these dogs coming in. Now this is a higher level. This is like a private invitation type thing.
Hey, look at you now.
Private.
Look at you.
He was leaning away. Now he's staring at me.
Yeah, you're like, okay. I'm okay with this guy.
Hey, so then I see all these high level people. I don't know if you would call them dogmen, but you can know these are people that have been coming to him, like his personal invitation, people that he trains personally. That's not big, loud, gossip hour. These are people that drive all over the country.
They're not from the swamp.
They're coming. A lot of big money, a lot of people that come to him directly, and he only sends out these dogs. He only sends these dogs to certain people. So I would stay up there, and I
Very specific guy. He don't allow every chump to go get a dog and then breed it, mix it with the garbage can. The others.
He
wouldn't allow that.
Breeding them for like over 20 years, and he's quietly hidden in Minneapolis. He just moved recently, but yeah. So he wants his dogs in his circle. So then I'd sit up there. I would literally, in college, my wife would get mad at me. We've been together since high school. But she'd be like, where are you going? This is in college. And I'd go up there for like a whole weekend, Thursday through Monday. And I would just sit there. I didn't have a dog yet because I just got rid of that show line. I'm watching him. And I said, and so when he'd talk, I'd listen. And then he'd wait till people leave. And then he'd show me I was young and athletic. So he'd put the bite suit on me. And he'd talk to me about his females, that's his foundation line and how he does this. And he said, a lot of people just breed the dogs, don't know why they're breeding. And I'm learning, right? He's high level. He has merits. He's produced some of the greatest dogs still today, have the most levels of winnings, and Schutzen is what it's called. It's called IGP now. So anyway, that's been my mentor. So I've always loved dogs, but my thing that my
So the mentality that you acquire, or the process that you acquire, was from those dogs.
Yes,
but your true passion was still a pit bull.
Pitbull, 100%. That was my original, right?
Yeah.
That was my original and then I kept reading.
Because you're still that little boy
exactly.
that went and grabbed the dog, bred to the backyard.
That's it.
And your father looked at him.
That's it. And
you still got that.
And then I saw you right around the same time, and I'm like, because to be honest, what you say is I'm not used. A lot of the schmucks, the people that had the pit bulls, didn't really market it right, or didn't have shit. Like didn't have anything that's like this. Didn't have that power. It wasn't something that drew me. That drew me because of the guy, right? And I like German Shepherds. I like protection dogs. I like the intensity they have at that level, right? But I'm like, I've never saw that reciprocated in pit bulls until I saw you talking online. I started seeing your dogs. I'm like, there's a clear difference here. And I said, you can enunciate better than the guy that I was talking about from Germany, the passion behind it. And like they say right now, a lot of rap songs say, walk it like you talk it. And that's what led me to you first and then I went back to loving the dogs and respecting the breed. And when I was younger,
because you didn't have that part yet, because it was coming from a hood dog.
Exactly, hood dog.
And now you were getting a view that it was a high level opinion of high level dogs that you never knew before.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something right now that I'm going to make a video about it, so I'm actually breaking it down for the guys that come here.
Yep.
I always tell people, say, Chico, which is the one part in the dogs that you love the most? And I say conditioning. He said, but why conditioning, Chico? What is it about conditioning? Rather than just being in the sofa with the dog and going in the neighborhood. I remember the dark nights, whether it's Brazil or Texas, or even New York with Bruno Boy. And obviously when you walk Chilindrina and Bruno Boy is a completely different experience. You know, like Chilindrina is this LaFerrari, this Bugatti, super 16-cylinder. I mean, and this is what I want to get to. I want you to capture this. I want you to capture this moment. I've always been a very competitive person, and I've always been in a very challenging world. Remember, I'm a wetback. You know, illegal alien, no English, no understanding of what's going on, no understanding of the culture, with a heavy load to have to support my parents and my brothers.
Underdog.
Super underdog, mega underdog. And I always being in sales or in some competition, I'm going against adversity.
Yep.
So whether I was in sales in New York, or I was in sales in Texas, or I was in sales in Texas also with the mortgage company, or I was or I am in the development of our rock quarry in Brazil, which it was going broke and I saved it. I'm always going against something, but I'm competing.
Yep.
So for me, coming from work, wanting to get to the house, saying a quick hello to everybody, but for me grabbing that leash, and I always had, how you said, callus in the center of my hand, and all this, it was full of callus all the time.
Yep.
You understand? Yes, from the leash. So I make this leash that I put around here, so it won't be so much, because they can pull out of my body rather than my hand. And so I want you to know this. There's a secret that I knew it, but I didn't put it into thoughts. It's a big difference. Sometimes you know something, you don't know how to express it.
Right.
And for me, it was a very pivotal moment, very high volume level moment. When I would come from work, I grab the dog and I walk in the dark of the night. Darkness, absolute darkness, the moonlight maybe, and sometimes a little headlight here. And I see this red thing in front of me, just pulling, walking, and I'm downloading all the information, you know, of my day at work, the mistakes that I made, the things that I did right, and I start to prepare myself for a high competition level the next day in sales, to be the number one, to be the best, and also to uplift other people. But I understood that some guys are your direct competitors. You cannot uplift them, and there were others that will rescue, and you know, employees that needed help and they didn't know the process, and maybe people didn't allow them to develop their own potential because there was a mafia always in sales. You know, the top salesmen always make sure that the new guy never gets a fair shot. So there were a lot of, where I worked, there was guys that were there for 20 years, and there was a revolving door where the new guy, like let's say yourself, young, will come in and you eager and beaver, and they will come and burn you with the boss and get you fired because they don't want you to grow.
Right.
But then I became that clutch that I'll say, Isaac is a nice guy, man. And I tell the boss, don't let these guys burn the guy. Put him under my wing. So they'll give me the guy. I trained you, and then so there was a competition between those guys and myself and my new guys. They used to call him Chico Lopez crew, you know? But I want you to know this is the preparation for the next day in competition that I got the night before by walking those dogs, not walking like Lassie next to me, but pulling and working with the pressure, power walk. And it was a very personal moment. That allowed me to, it's a drug really. You fall in love, you become addicted to that. So you walk one dog, and I was like, I cannot walk Chilindrina for more than 35 minutes because she'll burn herself out. So walking 3 dogs at night, it was perfect for me. 2 hours walking dogs is okay with me. You understand what I'm saying? So for you, that you're competitive, when you start walking this boy right here, Leonidas, it's going to be, you're going to remember, like Chico told me about this.
For sure.
I remember he told me to walk these dogs. And you're going to feel the power. You are going to feel it all the way. And for you to see the mutations on the dog and how the dog is, the back legs, look at the legs, and people stop you like, Jesus, where do you got the dog from? What are you doing? You know, and people say, oh, you put steroids. No. It's genetics, proper nutrition, proper work, proper rest. So let me ask you a question. You found me.
Yes, sir.
You found people saying good things about me. Today we live in a society where people didn't understand this at the beginning because social media is relatively new in some areas.
Yep.
And the community of today, I know it. Like I'm looking at a channel on this guy,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I like him. But then somehow in YouTube, people use his name for cloud chasing, or they use his name to attach themselves to the name,
Yep.
and maybe they're butthurt for some reason, and they become haters. Some people don't even know him. So I understand now, smart people understand there are haters on everything, and that you have to be successful. You're always gonna have haters, bottom feeders.
Right.
So I don't even pay attention no more. Like when I see somebody talking BS, I look at this guy, man, with the suit and tie. He looks so nice. And then I look at the scumbag that he's talking about him. He looked like crap.
Right.
You know?
100%.
So you did find haters from me.
Yep.
What can you say about those? Because I want people to understand, and I know haters are watching this video, they can understand how my clients are. They cannot break my clients from coming to me.
Yep.
So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, you said there's haters and everything, right? And
Yes.
there's a little, I say cliche a lot, but there's a lot of little slogans where people say if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right.
Correct.
I could say it didn't deter me, right? And I think a lot of times is because
Do you entertain it?
I don't entertain it. I walk right by it, to be honest, because one, I don't.
You
get
knew right away,
I
isn't
knew
it?
right away. I don't have social media and all that stuff. I don't get into the pettiness. What I saw is, and I heard from my experience, I heard a real, I was gonna say a real MF, but I heard a real person on there talking passionate, which drew me in more, and talking facts, right? My big thing now is you can't argue facts, or as you say, merits,
Yes.
which is the same thing. But like if LeBron James came in, there's a time to hate and there's a time to listen.
Sure.
And like you said, the people, if you look at anybody hating on them, click on their page, and there's millions of things to hate about, right? The way they look, the way they talk, what have they done. So I don't even get caught up in that. I could tell everything that you did based off your merits, your experiences, like you just told about walking. There's nothing to hate on there, especially for why I'm coming to you, right?
Dude,
Like, I'm learning a lot from you.
For
person to
me
person.
to tell you what I just told you,
Yeah.
be the first one actually in this video that I talked about this, because I'm gonna break this down
Yep.
like a science later with dogs. So I'm gonna start training at those right now at night.
Yep.
I want you to know that that the next day you wake up with a different attitude.
Yep.
You run to the cold shower, take the real cold shower. You don't want a warm shower because it slow you down. Take a real cold shower. Get ready for battle. That day you're a different monster.
Yeah.
So you already had that energy that you competitive and stuff like that. All of a sudden, this dog gave you an extra 10%, or he gave you the age. He put the spark inside the gasoline, the nitro button in the car that just hit you to another level. The extra 3-4 gears. After the 7th gear, you got 3 more gears, and you can still rev in the motor.
Yep.
Man, I'm telling you, it's an unfair advantage for someone that's in competition.
See, and like you were just saying, though, competition's been my whole life, but I can feel this dog right now, right? Never felt something like it. Solid as a rock, beautiful dog. But it's also like, as you say, it's the person you're buying from the dog, right? I feel pressure in a good way, but I also feel competition that I'm buying the dog from you is in the fact of everything that you talk about and everything that you walk it like you talk it with these dogs, right? So I feel honored to have this dog. I already get up every morning at 4:45 to work out, but I can't wait to do things with this dog, with walking every morning, because I'm getting a dog from such a high level person. Just be like buying a horse from like Bob Baffert. You protect that prize, right? You protect that prize, but everything that you've talked about, right, and your merits and everything by raising these dogs makes me want to do that anyway, right, with this dog, because it's coming from you. The dog's coming from you, but I also
you know you can't you know that you can fail if you do things correctly. You know you can
100%.
fail. No way you're gonna fail because you got the right dog.
100%.
And if you put the right time and you do all the little things that you're supposed to do, feed and right, chew and right, a lot of common sense. Look at this boy.
He's amazing.
Huh?
He's amazing.
Wait until you start working with him. Because right here in the hotel we can't do work with him, but
Yeah.
when you're walking on the grass and in a field with him, you know.
He's solid. He's solid. I'm super excited for the opportunity.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
So you pay a very good price for the dog that you got.
Yep.
But for the people that don't know what is an American Pitbull Terrier and they buy those neighborhood dogs,
Yep.
they don't know the difference. You'll be surprised. Some guys will say, "Oh, these don't look like a Pitbull," because they got the wrong idea. They're looking at the wrong dog, right?
Exactly.
But you trusted me,
Yep.
And that was very important. Let's talk about trust a little bit.
For sure.
You send a deposit, you get to see the dog,
Yep.
you pay for everything, and now, I mean, you never had a doubt that I was gonna take your money and run away with it?
Right. No, not at all. And to be honest, when I see you do these videos with other people, I'm like, but actually walking through it, literally, that's my little kid, like rolling my eyes. But when I went through the process, it really is like that, man. You've been and we've never met until now, right? But it's like, I trusted you 100%.
But I picked up your energy in the phone, though.
Yeah, you did, and that's the
I
other thing.
picked up your energy in the
That's the other
phone.
thing. I've never seen somebody do this, and I'm in sales too, high-level sales for insurance. And I can bring, that's that competition. I can bring a lot of what you've done through the process. That's what I'm saying. There was credibility at every angle. Every time I clicked a video, credibility. I'm listening to things, right? Credibility when I first FaceTimed you. Credibility from 5 years ago, I've seen you saying you only can get this dog if you pass an interview, right?
Yes.
So, but that puts pressure on the buyer too, but you can't fake who you are, right? So the pressure comes if you're not a real person. But I called you as a straight up man, listened to you, and you qualified me, and we talked.
Like for a moment, to be honest with you, I was when we were talking in the interview, you're talking about, oh, I want to train these, and I was like, man, is this guy from the swamp? And then you had to clarify, no, I'm not a swamper. I had these other dogs, and I want to train them.
Yep.
Now the training on this dog.
But just as far as your process, though, you've been 100%. You've answered every time. You and your wife. You sent me pictures. It is a lot of money, but it's worth it. I haven't even thought about the money, right? Because along the process, you guys have kept me updated, and then you've been able to work with me. I travel a lot in the summer, so you waited, and then I've never, even the guy I got to, I would go up to his house because it was close, the German Shepherds. You flew all the way up here, handed the dog perfect to me. We're taking the time to talk. You've gone above and beyond, and I've asked you a lot of questions. I've asked you about some videos of feeding, everything else.
Only raw food, only raw.
Exactly, and I haven't had anything. I haven't had that level of service, and I'm not even talking just dogs. I'm talking about in general, right?
The service part, the professionalism, all that.
100%. That's above and beyond. It's nothing like I've seen before. On top of the quality of the animal when it came out of the bag, right?
So if somebody's watching this video right now,
and I've been around a lot of high-class dog people as far as other breeds as well.
Yes.
And that goes into, and there's a lot of money in the German Shepherds police dogs. I haven't had this kind of service, let alone in any working dogs, but let alone your service. It's not even close. And I say that honestly, and I'm not just saying that to blow.
No. I know you're saying the truth because I know it is.
Yes.
You understand? So you're saying what it is.
That's 100%.
But I'm very happy that you do recognize that, and it takes someone to recognize that. Sometimes you can feed pearls to the pigs, and they don't understand what it is.
Right.
But you're the perfect guy. You understand everything, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate that you do appreciate that. You understand? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But I'm actually happy that you recognize those efforts and the passion, because I can tell you're very passionate too, and I love it. I freaking love it because I am very passionate. And when I saw you coming in, I said, this guy looks so young. For a second, it reminds me of me.
Does it?
Yeah, man.
But that's, I don't know how to explain it. But you said, how do you like deter the haters and stuff? And I don't like to speak of myself, but like just like everything I do in work, right? Day I walk into sales. Who's the #1 salesperson? That's it, is over there. I need to get over there, right?
You're gonna
I need to be
him.
around it. So it's like, let me hear it. But
now you got a secret weapon, brother. Now you got a secret weapon. Now you got a secret weapon.
Even back like 3 years ago, you were talking about videos with like the eagles flying above. Like some people, as you say, pay attention. You'll stop mid-video and say, pay attention here. When you get passionate and you're going on and you say something, I listen in. Like I almost sit forward because it's like real recognize real, and I hear what you're saying. And I feel like a lot of people, it goes over a lot of people, but that's because they don't live their life like that.
Can I be honest with you?
It's not just dogs. They don't live their life like that.
I hate to say, can I be honest? Because I'm always, I try to be honest all the time. I'm not an angel.
Yeah.
But I want you to hear this that I'm going to tell you.
Yes, sir.
My wife and I talked about this actually yesterday in the morning. How much time we wasted on YouTube. We were talking to the wrong crowd. But we talk about those few individuals that were in YouTube listening and paying attention. And I told my wife, they are there. And some guys are missing our channels. Some guys don't. Our channel is off right now, and I'm fighting with a lawyer in Mexico. The haters, the scumbag, the dog rapists, the guy that called himself Rocky Balboa, all those guys, that fake dog rapist from Yonkers, he got together with some scumbags from Mexico, and they presented some fake papers of an agency in Mexico so they can bring down the channel. And YouTube, once YouTube see papers, and the papers come, like they look legit to them because they don't know if they are, legit Mexican papers. When you send the legit papers and the agency in Mexico says, the paper that they presented you, this document, whatever, is absolutely fake.
Yeah.
It's a fake document of our office, and Francisco Lopez has nothing against, there's no cases against him, and his material is his, and so on and so forth. At that particular moment, and we're going through that process, I have a feeling we'll bring back the channel, but you're talking to the wrong crowd, and you're talking to the wrong crowd because the name of American Pitbull Terrier is so corrupted that listen, being an American Pitbull Terrier is like you're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. You either are or you're not.
Right.
You cannot be a little bit,
right,
because that dog that is a little bit Pitbull has a little bit of this, has a little bit of greatness here, but he's mixed with a whole bunch of garbage.
right.
That right there don't qualify to be bred. And by not qualifying to be bred, he stops to be the breed. You are only the breed when you come from the right source.
Yep.
And listen to me, because this information is not anywhere else. It's not in books. People read books and they go with the same thing the other guy said. The breed started on this day and blah, blah, this guy, blah, blah, this bloodline. People contact me all the time and say, Chico, which is the best bloodlines? I said, the bloodline that is being used right now by the best #1 guy, the guy that's head and shoulders above everybody, that bloodline, whatever he has, that is the bloodline. Because bloodlines is 1% of greatness and the rest is all mediocrity and garbage. You understand? You got dogs, 2 ears, 2 eyes, a tail, 4 legs, but there's a difference between when you come to merits.
Right.
And look at this puppy, the accumulation of merits. Let's take a look at the pedigree for a second on this puppy.
Yep.
Look at the father, Mayweather. He's a champion. He's a very good champion. Very, very, very good. Excellence. He has a sister that's a champion. Bad mofo. Has a brother that is a grand champion, and he has another brother that's a champion. In 1 litter, that's called a cluster.
Right.
He is from a dog that they call the butcher's knife, mechanic buck. And he's a ram dog and is perhaps my best producer at this moment.
Mechanic buck.
Mechanic buck. A mechanic buck has another cluster that I sent to Ukraine, and I look at my friend there on the eye, and I said, this is going to be the best dogs in Europe. There's chance to make grand champions and champions here. Look at this. Global champion Pichenka, global champion Rakata, and global grand champion Atos from Busha. Got hit by grenades, never left the house. They put an alibi dog on him, killed the alibi dog, and he still didn't leave the house. The Ukrainian army went to save him and take him to a doctor, and my friend Nikola Kovalchuk worked with him to keep him alive and everything else. And I went to get him about a month and a half ago when I went to Ukraine. I went to Ukraine, a country that is threatened to be hit by atomic bombs, and they flying rockets and sirens, and it's very stressful, and a lot of curfews and things like that. I went to get him. I took a lot of chances, 17-day trip,
Yes.
because I had to go by train and come back and all that stuff. Let me tell you something. This puppy, his father, Mayweather, is related to all these dogs. But not only he comes from global champion mechanic buck, best in show, but the mother to Mayweather is no other than Copper Day, global champion Copper Day, Rum, also best in show. And she's a direct daughter of grand champion Mayday Rum, the beast, the king of all dogs. And the mother is global grand champion Copperhead, dog of the year, also a monster best in show. That's on the father's side. Let's move to the mother.
Right.
Let's start with the mother. She's an amazing dog herself, just like him, like that. But she's a daughter of a monster, savage. Richard Stratton, he's a historian, book writer. He calls him the modern champion of the old family, Red Nose. Everybody loves the bagman. The haters love the bagman. There's no way you can, you understand, the dog, he set the record for the fastest champion at a global level in 4 months and 26 days.
That's wild.
You understand? With the best in show by Cardenas in Mexico. And that dog is just sensational. And then on the bottom of that dog, you have the greatest dog that ever lived. Global Grand Champion, Chico the Great, Dog of the Year, Best in Show, the machine, the perfection, I mean, the standard, the framework of the breed. All of that, you have it in your hands right now. How does that feel?
Can't even put words on it. It's just facts. That's all there is to say. It feels great.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's too much. Like, it's almost too much, to say. You can't even say it.
Look at the snot on the dog, man. Look at the ears, the eyes.
It's amazing.
And he looks a little tired from when the time he left. He's gonna start kissing you and giving you love and understanding.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
Excited.
So I'm very happy that you have him, brother.
I appreciate
Thank you very much for the opportunity, for the trust.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for the information that you have provided me today, because it does make me feel like I should make more videos. There's more Isaacs out there. You understand? And as long as the videos are on my website, it's perfect, because they're not in the YouTube. YouTube is full of garbage. It's so much misinformation and bad information that someone that is not prepared to learning and don't have the power of discern the difference between evil and greatness might get confused. Sure. And people start listening to the opinion of everybody, which is the consensus opinion. And when you listen to the consensus opinions, you're going to have the opinions of all the mediocrity, all the idiots, same people that vote for presidents in Latin America. Exactly. They never get a break. Ecuador, Peru goes from one president every year, new one, because they can't pick up the perfect. Everybody they pick up is a corrupt guy, right? Until they get a guy like Maduro, or Fidel Castro. But if you go to Honduras, then you got Juan Orlando Hernandez, which is now in New York in jail for being the president narco, So you got so much corruption, it's unbelievable. And it is because people believe in consensus opinions. And you are not looking at consensus opinions per se. What you're looking at is the facts, the merits, the right measurables, the right things that you can measure and say, I want to measure this versus this versus that. I always tell people, listen, you'll find someone that has better dogs than me. Listen, tell me where he is, and I'll buy the dog from him for you for free, and I still give you one of mine. I know it's not going to happen. I'm being sarcastic about it. I'm kind of flexing a little bit when I say it, but it is what it is. You understand? I want people to know that my conviction to it is that strong. Because you might say like, oh, Chico put this great effort to come here to bring me the puppy himself. I told you the meeting was important, But at the same time, I want you to know that the efforts that we put to develop those dogs, traveling to the countries, were very difficult trips. Sure. A lot of stress, walking into communist countries like China, I can only imagine. With dogs, like, it's unbelievable. But hey, Isaac, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming, and I'm very, very happy that you got this beautiful beast right here.
He's the man. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
He's the man, isn't it?
He is. He's the man. He's solid as rock. Beautiful dog. I'm thankful. I'm excited. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome, brother.